one call. Just a horrible, horrible situation for them.
I don't think that's going to happen.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of TakeaSide. I'm your host, Max McElroy, and we've got a great show for you today. Before we get started, be sure to log on to Sided.co or the Sided Debates app to post, comment, and engage with different topics across all sports. The more engagement your post gets, the faster you will climb that leaderboard for a chance at $25 Amazon gift card. With action from the NFL, MLB playoffs, and NHL and NBA seasons getting started, now is a great time in sports, so get on and start posting. Switching into our first debate, I'm joined by Isabel Scarborough and Matt Minier to debate whether or not the Broncos can piece together a playoff run. Ever since the Broncos traded for Russell Wilson this offseason, expectations went sky high, with many even expecting them to be a Super Bowl contender. Broncos jumped off to a less than ideal start, with new head coach Nathaniel Hackett drawing questions of his own, and the Broncos have yet another year with a losing record. Can the Broncos get this thing going? Isabel, what are your thoughts?
Okay, so clearly the Broncos, they've not had a good start. But, the talent is there. They have the talent. They just need the chemistry. They started not with preseason, which was not a good idea. So they're set 3 weeks back, and they have it, and I believe they can do it.
I'm going to be honest, I do not think they'll make the playoffs. Let's just start with the offense here. It's the last in the league in points per game at 15 points per game. They scored 9 points against the Colts last Thursday night. No touchdown scored. And then the primetime game the week before that, they scored 11. Luckily, they won. They somehow won that game, 11-10. But this offense has just been abysmal this year. You look at their scoring throughout their first 5 games this season. You have 16 points at Seattle, 16 at Houston, 11 for San Fran, 23 against the Raiders, but that was the one game your defense did not play well. And then you scored, 9 versus the Colts. I don't see how this team can get it together and make the playoffs, especially in a loaded AFC and even a loaded AFC West. I don't just see it happening.
Oh, the loaded AFC, that's a whole different thing. But anyways, Cortland Sutton, we have good talent. Cortland Sutton, Jerry Jeudy, KJ Hamler. We have they have Jalen Virgil. Cortland Sutton is the first in the division for 3rd and 5. It's Russell Wilson who is the problem. Russell Wilson just needs to get the ball. He has an average of 14 yards per catch, which is more than Cooper Kupp, Deebo Samuel, Mike Evans. He's 3rd in the air yards, 7th in receiving yards, 11th in the targets. He's up there. We have the talent. If Russell Wilson and Nathaniel Hackett, they need to connect more. They are not. Russell Wilson is not communicating enough with his
I think a big reason why they're not so successful this year is the coach, Nathaniel Hackett. This guy is Matt Nagy 2.0. And coming from a Bears fan, I'm used to seeing these bad games and this bad coaching. It's been awful. You had the first game of the season where towards the end of the game, he kicks a 50-yard field goal without calling a timeout in the final minute. And then you have the next game against Houston. You have the fans counting down the play clock so they want to get the layup game. That was so funny. But it's just I think let's see if they can get this coach right. We don't know. It's his first year. A lot of coaches struggle their first year. But they have Russell Wilson. They paid this man how much? $230 million. And his Geno Smith, the guy who's taken over for him, Seattle, is better numbers than him. Let's just compare. You got Geno Smith, 1,500 yards, 9 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. 68.5
We're not talking about Geno. We're talking about the Broncos. It doesn't matter that Geno Smith. Okay, whatever. But we're talking about the Broncos. They're going to figure it out. Their defense. That is why the Broncos are not with a losing record right now. It's because the Broncos defense knows when to show up. We're talking about they can make it to the playoffs. They can make it to the playoff with their defense. Defense wins championships, don't it?
But you got to score. You got to score, though.
Okay, we do have to score. I get that. They have to score. However, defense can also score. Patrick Surtain, Bradley Chubb, last game, he has 7 tackles, 2.5 sacks, 3 quarterback hit, and 1 tackle for loss. The defense is why the Broncos are still in the game and why the Broncos they need to figure it out, but the defense is what is going to keep them the whole way.
We'll see. I don't think that, Cortland Sutton and Jerry Jeudy are very good, but I don't think they're any legitimate number 1 wide receivers.
Also, if we're
talking,
so. We don't have we do. First off, Cortland Sutton is a number 1 wide receiver, so I don't want to hear that.
Okay, sure.
And they need to get entire new staff because the reason we don't have number 1 players is because they're out. Is because the training staff is horrible. They're one of the most hurt teams in the entire NFL.
I will give you that,
Javonte Williams, Melvin Gordon, who first off isn't that good of a wide running back. So the Broncos also need a new running back. Christian McCaffrey up for trades, bring the Colorado kid back to Colorado. Garrett Bowles, Dalton Reiser, Josie Jewell, they are all hurt. They need they need to be a healthy team is what they need to do for the first step to make it.
You just need Russell Wilson to play good. I think you need to
100%.
let him cook. But like, if you look at the AFC,
Needs a new recipe book.
yeah, if you look at the teams in the AFC, it's a tough competition. If they were in the NFC, I would say they would have a shot in maybe the wild card. But this AFC is loaded. You got the AFC West. You have the Chiefs, the Chargers, the Raiders are.
Don't talk about the Raiders.
They're better
Raiders
than the
are
Broncos.
nothing.
Let's be honest.
I mean, they
But-
play the Broncos. They aren't the best with rivalry games. We all know that. Except for they have against the Chargers, they have records. They've always been good, and they're going to be good tonight. And I believe they can 100% make them. It wasn't smart to not play in preseason. I think it set them back a few weeks. And I think Russell Wilson just needs to take his team out for dinner and get some chemistry going on, because that is what is missing is the chemistry. You see KJ Hamler wide open. They need I think that's what they need. They do need some better plays. They just need more team chemistry as a whole.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting to see tonight. Another primetime game. They've been terrible in primetime, so we'll see if they can maybe pull it out. But I don't know. Chargers are a very good team. Justin Herbert is one of the top quarterbacks in the league. And let's see if that defense can actually play well enough tonight, and the offense can play well enough tonight to actually get a win.
Yeah, well, the Broncos do play tonight against the Chargers, and we'll see if the offense can step it up. But for right now, we will send it to break.
You may not hear it at first, but it's there. Our chant, rising. On this summit, callings converge, voices unify into a chorus that sounds out for good, for greatness. Can you hear it?
For our next debate, I am joined by Carson Shea and Dylan Vanderveen to debate their NBA season award predictions. In a pretty wild offseason, the Eastern Conference ended up getting more talent, and the Western Conference continues to be stacked with a tough fight to the playoffs for every team in the conference. There are many talented players in this league, but Carson, who do you have for your season award winners?
All right, Dylan, this is going to be a crazy NBA season. Personally, I'm very excited, but let's start with the NBA Finals. I'm going with the Denver Nuggets and the Milwaukee Bucks. I think that a healthy Nuggets team is going to take the crown this year. Nikola Jokic, Jamal Murray, and Michael Porter Jr. are all healthy this year. They have a lot of high expectations, and I think they're going to do it. What do you have for the finals?
Look, man, I got the Celtics. They have a chip on their shoulder. I got the Celtics, and I got them Twin Towers that they just started over in Minnesota. So, I mean, you got KAT, you got Anthony Edwards, you got Rudy Gobert. I mean, they got some depth. They signed Kyle Anderson in the offseason. That gives them the wing depth that they didn't have last season. And look, the Celtics, we already know how good of a defensive team they are. They got Robert Williams over there. They got Marcus Smart. They got the offensive Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown. I mean, that team's really good. They had their coach get suspended a year, but I don't think that's really going to matter for them. They got Brad Stevens up there. I think he's going to give them any depth that they need to. So I don't think they have any problem either one of those two teams making it.
Right, yeah. For the Celtics and the Bucks, those are two teams that we expect them to go far like that. But the Timberwolves and the Nuggets, they're both kind of teams from the West that we don't know. So it's going to be really interesting this year.
Yeah, it's going to be really fun.
All right, so for the most valuable player, you went with more of a common pick. I went with Ja Morant. I think he's the most explosive player in the NBA by far. Last year, the Grizzlies were the 2 seed. I think they have a chance this year to be the 1 seed, and I think he can do it. What about you?
He's very explosive. But I got to go to Kevin Durant over here. I mean, he requested a trade over in Brooklyn, and he ended up staying with Steve Nash and Kyrie Irving over there in Brooklyn. And I think he's going to take over. Look, they were expected in Brooklyn when he signed in Brooklyn. They were expected to be winning championships by now. They're expected to probably win 2 championships by now. So he's got to take something over. I think Kevin Durant, a healthy Kevin Durant with the addition of Ben Simmons and Kyrie Irving obviously still staying there. I think he's going to really take over for Brooklyn this year.
I definitely think that KD's good, but we saw what he did in the playoffs last year. And if he plays like that this year, there's no way he's winning the MVP.
I don't think he will. I mean, look, it's Kevin Durant. Everybody's allowed to have a bad playoffs or something like that, but you got to look at his stats, man. Look what he's done in his career. He has the ability to take over at any point in time and any point of the season or any time.
Yeah. All right. Well, moving on to our next one, we got the Defensive Player of the Year. I'm going with Giannis. Look, Giannis is a beast. He's done it before.
Absolutely.
Giannis is the greatest player in the league right now. I don't think it's even close. I think that he's going to take it.
Look, I got to go with that big man in Boston over Robert Williams. I just mentioned him before. Look, averaged 2.3 blocks in the playoffs last season. come on, insane at the rim. He's insane. You got the additions with Marcus Smart, who won Defensive Player last year. As long as he stays healthy, he had the knee injury, the knee surgery this offseason. He comes back healthy. He comes back as dominant as he is. I don't think he'll have any problem winning that Defensive Player of the Year, at least being that consideration.
I just think that Giannis has a chip on his shoulder. I think he's going to go harder than he ever has this year, and I think he's going to be.
I could see it.
Not only on offense but on defense.
Come on, I mean, Giannis is Giannis.
It's
dude.
Giannis,
I mean, it's
man.
Giannis.
All right. Now we're going to start a little young here. We're going back to the Rookie of the Year. We had a lot of exciting players coming into the NBA this year, but me personally, I'm going to go with Jaden Ivey for Rookie of the Year. He was a star at Purdue. He averaged 17 points per game there, and I think he's going to transfer really well into the NBA with the Pistons.
Yeah, see, I actually like your pick because I was really deciding between the guy I picked, Jabari Smith. He came out of Auburn, third overall pick out of Auburn. He was considered for the first overall. Paulo ended up taking that first overall spot. I do think Jabari Smith is going to have a better career than Paulo. They had very similar numbers in college in the 1 seasons that they were in college. But look, Jabari Smith is a really good defensive piece on a young Houston Rockets team that's rebuilding. He can cover the gaps very, very well. I think Jabari Smith is going to have no problem switching over to the NBA, and I think he'll take that NBA Rookie of the Year award at the end of the season.
Yeah, the difference here, in my opinion, is that the Rockets are still rebuilding, and I think that the Pistons are a little bit further in their rebuild. I think the Pistons have a chance to make the playoffs again. Jaden Ivey could be a big part of that. They already have Cade Cunningham. I think that the Pistons are going to be a lot better than the Rockets, and I think that's going to make a better push for Rookie of the Year. All right, let's move on to Coach of the Year. So this one's a little tough. You don't really know who's going to get what. It's not been done in a while where the Coach of the Year has repeated. So I think that it's going to be someone fresh. I went with J.B. Bickerstaff from the Cavaliers. The Cavaliers, this is his 3rd year going on to that team, and I think that there's a chance that they can make the playoffs. Last year they made the play, and I think he's going to push them up to a top 3 seed this year.
Obviously, the Cavaliers only got better in the offseason. So, I mean, but you know, you got Timberwolves. I already said they're going to the NBA Finals. That's what my prediction is, and I think he's going to take them right there. You got, like I just said, KAT, Anthony Edwards. Anthony Edwards, all he's got to do is be better in clutch situations. He's got to be that guy, and that team's going to be in the NBA Finals. And usually when it's the head coach, taking your team to the NBA Finals for the first time in a very long time, usually it's Coach of the Year right there.
Yes,
so
that's for sure. But the Cavaliers got Donovan Mitchell this year, so you can make the same case.
Absolutely, yeah.
All right, moving on to 6th Man of the Year. Let's start with you this time. I know Jordan Poole's been a beast last year, but I want to hear from you. What do you got?
Come on, Jordan Poole. Look, you got 3 guys there. You got I think they should. I went on a show and said that the Golden State Warriors should have traded Klay Thompson this offseason. You got Jordan Poole, you got Steph Curry, and Klay Thompson.
That's crazy.
Look, Klay Thompson has a huge contract, and Jordan Poole is very young. And look at him. Like, you saw what he did
great.
last season. They won the NBA Finals. Like, he was a big portion of that, and him being on the bench still is kind of sad, in my opinion, for the Golden State Warriors. I think they're going to end up dumping that contract if Klay Thompson takes a step back or something like that, and they'll let Jordan Poole play. But, look, coming off the bench, 6th Man of the Year, I agree with it.
Yeah, don't get me wrong, Jordan Poole, he's a walking bucket. But I think Bones Highland from the Nuggets, he's going to get busy this year.
You're big on the Nuggets this year.
I'm a big Nuggets supporter this year. I have a lot of expectations for them. And with Jamal Murray being hurt last year and Bones having more of a stronger role this year, he's coming off the bench, I think that he's going to have a great chance. So with that, we're going to move on to more NBA after this break.
Welcome back. For our 3rd and final debate, I am joined by Kyle Mathis and Barry Anderson to talk some more NBA basketball. More specifically, which team will be the worst in the league this year and get their chance at the Victor Wembanyama sweepstakes? Kyle, what team do you think will be the league's worst?
Man, this is an interesting topic, but thanks, Max. Which team will be the worst? Well, in my opinion, overall, last season it was the Houston Rockets that were the worst. But this season, we're kind of debating between the Sacramento Kings and as well as the Orlando Magic. My apologies. I think the Sacramento Kings will be the worst team, and here's why. The Sacramento Kings have a huge playoff drought. I mean, huge. It's been a long time since they've made it, and they do have a young team. And I don't even remember the last time that they've gotten a top 3 draft pick in the NBA draft. This year they got pick number 4, and they got Keegan Murray. And yes, they do have a very good player in De'Aaron Fox, and they do have a young lineup. But I think that's the problem that the Sacramento Kings have. They have a young lineup, an inexperienced lineup, a team that has no playoff experience, and I think that they're also in a very difficult Western Conference with obviously the Phoenix Suns, which they might not be as good this year, the Memphis Grizzlies, the Warriors, defending NBA champions, the Dallas Mavericks will be making some noise, the Denver Nuggets, and the Timberwolves, both NBA final picks that the last debate had, they're in there too. So that's why I think the Kings will have it tough in the Western Conference this year.
Well, obviously, yeah. But 7 out of the last 10 years, like, the Magic haven't even reached over 30 wins. And you got, obviously, the Kings won 30 games last year. For the past 2 years, like, the Magic haven't even reached over 24 wins. And I feel like this franchise is going to go into a complete dumpster waste if they don't make smarter moves. Like, almost their whole team is filled with bigs, starting with Bobo, Franz Wagner, Wendell Carter, and Jonathan Isaac. Like, that's not a good look. Yeah, they picked up Paolo Banchero, but, like, you need 3-and-D guys. Like, the Magic finished 28th in three-point percentage last year, and if they want to be a great team, they need to sign a legit superstar, a free agent actually, so they don't have to make any trades. Keep Cole Anthony, Bobo, Banchero, and Franz Wagner, and sign some 3-and-D guys. And I feel like they need to pick up a shooting guard from the draft and tank. But like I said, it's going to be a complete barrel for the next 5 years if they don't make any moves. And then you have your point guards, Fultz, injury prone, Cole Anthony, who's the highest scorer on their team, averaged 16 points, and then Franz Wagner, who averaged 15. Like, that's not enough. Like, they need that dog. They need somebody to rely on to close out games for, because this team's pretty young, and I don't think any of these guys are pretty reliable. So I think I don't have them finishing over 23 wins this year. Yeah,
I mean, you talk about the Magic, they need that dog. I think that Cole Anthony is that guy for them. I think Cole Anthony, I mean, he was averaging 16.3 points per game last season. I think that his ability to make clutch shots is off the charts. I mean, you saw last season how many clutch shots he was able to make for Orlando in the games that they did have a chance to win, which weren't many. But I think, like, yes, they need more point guards, but obviously you also missed out on Jalen, or you might have said it, but Jalen Suggs is a big player as well for the Orlando Magic, averaging 11.8 points per game. I think that.
But, like, what you said about Jalen Suggs is, like, he averaged that, but he averaged 27 minutes a game. And I feel like if this team wants to be successful, they need a superstar caliber, and they need to drop some of these bigs, go in the offseason, tank this year, obviously, and get some more 3-and-D guys. Like, look, be smart, and I just feel like they should get, like, a superstar small forward to, like, build around, and then probably just do better than what they're doing now.
Yeah, I think that at the end of the day, because you mentioned tanking, and I think that if it comes down to it between the Kings and the Magic on who needs to tank more, I would have to say the Kings, because like you said, hear me out here.
You guys have Domantas Sabonis now. You guys traded away Tyrese Halliburton to get some more players. You guys traded Buddy Hield, but you guys got Keegan Murray, obviously. You guys have a better team than not you guys, but the Kings have a better team than the Magic, and they have way better players. They just signed De'Aaron Fox to a big deal. Like, that franchise, the Kings are going to win over 35 games, in my opinion.
But at the end of the day, you look at who's the projected overall number 1 pick, Victor Wembanyama. I mean, the guy is 7'2". I think the Kings, they need a big man like that. And like you said, the Magic don't need a big man like that. That's why I think that the Kings should try to tank, because I think that they should try to prioritize this guy. They're obviously in the rebuilding process. They're not fully there yet. They're almost there, not fully. If they get Wembanyama, I think they can be. That's why I think they should tank.
And here's the thing, though. If the Magic tank and try to get Wembanyama, Like, that would just be terrible for them because, like, they already have enough bigs. I feel like they should go and try to get Scott Henderson, like somebody that can shoot. And like I said before, they need more firepower. They need more defense and everything. So, yeah.
Well, that'll do it for us. Obviously, we'll have to see who will do worse this season. I think it'll be the Thunder overall, but we'll see how it does, how it goes. And we'll just have a quick break, or we'll send it back to Matt.
Thank you for tuning in to today's show. As always, be sure to log on to the Side of Debates app or Sided to Go to start posting, voting, and commenting on other debates. And follow us on social media. Our Twitter is @TakeaSideKU, where we will post clips from the show, as well as some bonus debates throughout the week. And our Instagram is also @TakeaSideKU, and we'll be doing live debates and some extra sided content for you. Thanks for watching. For all of us here at Take a Side, we'll see you next week.
Yeah.